Well, as always, let's start our conversation with taking a look at the commodities market and see how the week is starting around that space. This Monday afternoon, gold is doing pretty well as it did in the past week. $3,028.50 is what gold is doing, and it's positive 0.23%. Very interesting performance in that market, and there's been so much focus on the gold market as we see countries taking advantage of the positives in that market, exploring more than just crude oil and gas and seeing what gold holds for them. Nigeria also has proven and unproven reserves, of course, of gold. And we see the Ministry of Solid Minerals doing a lot to explore the opportunities in that market. So let's see, moving on, how better we'll do around the gold market. Silver is also doing pretty well today at $33.65. Copper is $515.40. Platinum, $981.38 an ounce. For the market, all in green this afternoon. 0.49% positive for silver, 0.79 positive for copper, and 0.15 positive for platinum. Let's see some food stuff now. Corn, wheat, cocoa. And this afternoon, they are all on the other side in red. Let's start with the price of corn, $462 per ton. Wheat is $553.25 per ton. Cocoa is $7,888. It's up 1.58%, but it's marginally down. Cocoa has been doing pretty well than this, above $8,000 since January, but there's been that mixed bag in recent times. Quartz $65.16 per ton too, and it's also down 0.17%. Let's move to the global market and see how the market is starting the week. Everywhere is in green. No, we're not seeing any of markets bleeding. What could they be reacting to? Financial markets made an optimistic start today with U.S. stock futures rising and the dollar firm ahead of a week driven by data and the threat of United States tariff hikes on the horizon. Now, S&P 500 futures is what we start with here, and it's up about 0.71%. In the Asian session, and Nasdaq futures rose 0.8%. European stocks were up 0.3%. Looking pretty well. Japan's Nikkei, Hong Kong Hang Seng wobbled around flat, and the euro, which fell slightly last week, steadied at $1.08. In emerging markets, Indonesian stock markets suffered another sharp fall, while Turkey's lira was on the urge as the jailing of President Tayyip Erdogan's main rival has unsettled investors. Now, 10 years U.S. Treasury yields fell from 38 basis points from mid-February highs to sit at 4.28%. And investors are being drawn abroad from the United States stocks. Hong Kong Hang Seng shares was up about 18% so far this year, the largest gain of any major market. Crude oil prices are inched up today as investors wait sanction. Of course, the sanctions on Iran, Russia, and Ukraine, and the ceasefire talks. Talks are on in Riyadh, trying to see how they could address all of these issues as the Russia-Ukraine war. But we'll see where that is headed because we're staying on all of these stories. But let's bring you as how all of this affects the crude oil market, which is very sensitive. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose to sell for $68.40 this afternoon with an uptick of 0.18%. Brent crude futures is also up 0.10% to sell for $72.23 per barrel. Bonny Light now sells for $78.62, and it's down 2.84%. And for the OPEC basket, crude dealers offer $73.13, and it's up 0.21%. Well, that's it for commodities market, global market, and crude oil market this Monday afternoon.